Okay, I think I'm on enough drugs to do this now. It's a very special welcome to Mystara, as this week we are seeing off the entry that's been on the list the longest, going back to the very beginning of when the topic was decided by a poll. After months of lingering at the top post, you finally selected Future Conflicts of Mystara. This will be done from the 1005 timeline, as the 10,010 timeline doesn't offer much for this subject. So check out that video if you want a refresher on what's on the 1005 timeline, but hopefully this will all be clear in the video. So enough talk. I'm Mr. Welch, I'm fighting a cold, and let's start some wars. The biggest problem with the 1010 timeline was it removed most of the tension and conflict from the setting. One of the great empires was gone, the other one was crippled, and the masters' armories were shattered. Everybody just got along despite the numerous power vacuums created by the fall of many of the previous power players. Everybody that started a war got beat down, and stalemate was the word of the day. Well, no longer. First up, Thyatis is going to be looking at expanding its empire for the first time in forever. They fought Alphatia to a standstill, their armies took a beating but stayed standing. Now the newly crowned Emperor Eusebius is trying to show his people that the empire still stands strong despite the stalemate that the war ended in. Going after Alphatia isn't going to happen. The empires are too evenly matched, and both nations are tired of an endless war against each other. He's going to need soft targets. First off, he diverts large numbers of the battle-hardened legions fresh from the Belissaria campaign into the hinterlands. They've been pushing back the hinterlands, but now with a large influx of fresh troops that are some of the most experienced soldiers in the known world, the hinterlands aren't going to stand a chance. I might be talking a little faster than normal. I'm trying not to, but I'm also trying to get out as many words between breaths because it's hard to breathe. The second target for Thyatis is a softer target that will quickly turn into a challenge. The Tiger clan of Etrugan was used as terror troops by the Master in the Western War against Darrakin and the Shires. The Shires took the brunt of their savagery, but the Tiger clan was outmatched in the open field by most forces. The one battle where they faced Karamekan heavy cavalry in the field was a one-sided slaughter that broke the back of the main Tiger force. This crushing defeat leads the Children of the Viper to make a move that they've been waiting for, the slaughter of the Tiger Clan priests. Azantiodal replaces Danal Tiger Stripes as the only immortal worshipped by the now Viper Clan. Any worship of Tiger Stripes gets you sacrificed to Azantiodal. The decimated clan is even more hampered by a civil war that sees the death of an entire religion and removes Danal Tiger Stripes from the rank of immortals as his worshippers are hunted down and slaughtered. Then the Thyacians arrive. The now Viper clan is a perfect target. They've got no allies, their ranks are depleted, and it's a mineral-rich nation. Yes, you're sending Thyacian legions into jungles, but the Vipers are fighting a war of attrition where their enemy is quickly conquering their cities one after another. The Thyacian reputation for treachery doesn't even begin to approach the Viper clan's level of treachery, as various Viper leaders, bitter over the war and the betrayal of the Tiger Priests, throw open their cities to the legions in exchange for some level of power after the conquest. Disease will take its toll on the legions, but their numbers are still vast. If you want to have an all-out slobber knocker for your players to enjoy, unleash the Azcans from the Hollow World. In the 1005 timeline, Azantiodal is building a large elevator from the Hollow World to the Surface World to bring his followers to the surface. His plan was to destroy the Etrugan and then level the Shadow and Sylvan Elves. We'll throw a kink into his plan. The elevator is finished, 100,000 Azcan warriors come streaming out of the jungle. Instead of facing the helpless Turtle clan, they face ranks and ranks of Thyacian legionnaires. The players have to get behind the endless swarm of the Azcans to stop the reinforcements from overwhelming the legions, or take command of the tactically superior yet quite outnumbered legions as they face wave after wave of fanatical Azcan warrior. Another possible conflict from the 1005 timeline is Auslan, which spent most of the Eastern War raiding parts of Alphatia. What this does, aside from unleashing Vikings on ancient Egyptians, among others, is leave Auslan itself ripe for invasion from the Heldonic Order. So now you've got Teutonic knights fighting Vikings. Eusebius is presented with another opportunity to liberate Auslan from the Heldonic Order and gain them as a vassal state. This gives you Vikings and Legionnaires versus Teutonic Knights, something a lot of people would enjoy fighting it out as an adventure. At this point, Thyatis has a growing hold over the southern continent of Devania, half of the southern Etrugan lands, and now Auslan. Skipping to Alphatia, they're in a tighter bind. Prince Xandar's incompetence has left him with a severely depleted army, and the wizards are tired of war. But like Thyatis, they need a quick and easy win for public morale. They can't go to Brunn, even to go after Auslan that caused them all sorts of problems during the war. So Alphatia has to turn its attention to Skothar. When they finally conquer the remaining Genites, then they can go after whatever lies behind the Genites, which will remain a mystery until we find out exactly what's in Skothar. Looking at the rest of the 1005 world, most of the nations are peaceful in nature. Darrican is recovering. Alpine and New Angmar aren't exactly on speaking terms, but as long as they stay outside the buffer zone created unintentionally by Darrican, they're on their best behavior. Minrathad and Darrican are going to have the trade war I made a video about earlier, which will go into large detail into that affair. The only nation looking for a war of the known world nations is Ethengar, and that's where it gets complicated. The biggest problem with Ethengar is Mystara loves mountains. For whatever reason, and multiple reasons have been discussed, Mystara is flooded with mountainous terrain. Considering the Ethengar are Mongols, mountains are a major problem for a nation famous for its light cavalry. They want to invade someone, they're itching for a fight. The problem is with their neighbors. They aren't invading Rockholm with its skyscraping mountains. Darrican is mostly mountains on its northern border. Glantry they'd love to invade, except the only way in is a mountain pass that serves as a bottleneck. That leaves Vestlin and the Helden freeholds. In the 1010 timeline, they go for Helden and everybody gets sick and the invasion fails. Helden has the advantage, or problem, depending on how you look at it, as they are sparsely populated. That means they're easy to conquer, but with no real assets, why bother? They're subsistence farmers, but nothing to offer the Ethengar raiders. You need a reason to conquer to somebody. Fighting for the sake of fighting is counterproductive. Vestland is filled with Vikings, and the path to get to them is wooded forests, which are easy to defend against cavalry. There's another option, requiring us to go look at the module Saga of the Shadow Lord, Windar, the northern elf nation. According to the trail maps, there is a path through the mountains, and Windar is a rich nation, and once you get through the pass, it opens up into large flat plains. Perfect for Mongol warriors. Better yet, after they conquer Windar, they have another path that leads to Dinagoth, which is also large and flat, and then you've got Mongols fighting humanoids and undead. That would make for a great campaign if you want your players to ride around and fight the worst bad guys, like Robert E. Howard wrote The Secret History of the Mongol Empire. I'm cutting this one short. I have a sinus cold, if you can't tell. I had more to talk about, but it's hard to write under heavy medication, which sucks because I have to talk to the IRS tomorrow to explain to them why my former job put the wrong amount on my tax forms. But tomorrow I'll have something special for everybody. The Mystara Player's Handbook is done. It's ready first thing in the morning, which I would immediately swoop in and pick up, except, of course, for the IRS thing. But I'll do a live feed tomorrow if my cold allows it. Just remember, until tomorrow, NyQuil is a gateway drug. It's a gateway to Rylith.